God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and oh, what needless pains we bear. All because we do not care. Oh, yeah. Everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptation? Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Oh, take it to the Lord in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and oh, what needless pains we bear. All because we do not care. Oh, yeah. Everything to God in prayer. Hi, I'm Nadine, and welcome to another YouTube video, Music in the Spiritual Realm. What is your gift? Is it singing? Is it instrumental? Is it praise dance? Is it composing lyrics? Composing music? Is it ministry, preaching? What is your gift? I hope that you know what your gift is. I hope that you are utilizing it to its fullest potential, to the glory of God. Well, this video, I would like to explore a little bit about the hymn, What a Friend We Have in Jesus, written by an Irishman, Joseph M Scriven. I tell you what, as I dived into some information on this man, I found out that we can go through life and we can face challenges, but through your tears and your heartaches, broken heart, whatever you are suffering or going through or have gone through, that you can find comfort in Jesus. You can go to him 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week throughout the year. He's never too busy for any of us. Now, so I'll give you a brief history on this hymn, which I found to be extraordinary. Like, wow. I tell you, hymns are just so wonderful. And that's why they're still around. There's the history behind them, and the words alone are so soothing. Well, Joseph Scriven was a composer. History says that he wrote at least 115 hymns. But What a Friend We Have in Jesus was like the top of the line there. And believe it or not, this hymn started out as a poem. So I'll give you a brief history on that. Now, he obtained a Bachelor's of Arts degree, and he wound up becoming engaged to his childhood sweetheart or love. At this time, they were in Ireland. They lived in Ireland. And a tragedy happened here. The day before their wedding, his fiancée was thrown from the horse that she was riding, preparing to meet Joseph at the banks of the river in Ireland. The horse was startled, and she was immediately thrown from that horse head first into the river, where she was knocked unconscious and she died. On his way to the river to meet her, he found her drowned in the water. And can you imagine the devastation, the sorrow and the grief of that? I couldn't, because it wasn't me and I wasn't there. I never experienced that, so I couldn't imagine that. But he said that it seemed like his world had just fallen to pieces. But in the midst of that sorrow and grief, he turned to God for comfort, consolation. And knowing that he could not deal with living in Ireland any longer, he relocated to Ontario, Canada, where he spent the rest of his life. Now, he served as a man of God, as a missionary, as a preacher. Like I say, he was a composer, a poet. And this is something that Joseph Scriven wanted in his life. He wanted marriage. He wanted to have a life with a woman that he loved. It didn't happen, unfortunately. And we all have things in life that we desire or need or want. And some things, it just doesn't happen. Now, during his time in Canada, he served the widows, the poor, the needy. He only helped those that did not have money. No one could hire him to do any work for them, to cut any wood, to help, because he didn't need the money. But he had a need, and he had a compassion, and he had a love that represented Christ. And he helped those in need. And I mean, he served wholeheartedly. During his time in Canada, he fell in love once again. And he was again engaged, preparing to marry. And tragedy struck again. Weeks before the wedding, his fiancée became ill with pneumonia. And despite everything he did to take care of her, she passed away. She didn't make it. Can you imagine that? A second time around, to be married, to possibly have children, to spend your life with someone you love, and it just didn't happen. He was a man filled with sorrow and grief. But in spite of the tears, the hurt, the pain, can you imagine that? Who else could you turn to but God? Because there are some things you can't tell everybody. You can't talk to everyone. But you can talk to the Creator anytime. Oh my God. You can just pour out to Him. And He'll be a comfort. Yeah, it's not easy, but he went through a life of loneliness, desiring a companion. What are you going through in life that you are desiring that you just said, well, it just never happened for me? We don't know our life. We don't know our future. We don't know the will of God. We don't know what's going to happen in our lifetime. So sometimes the hardship, the pain, the sorrow, the grief, we just have to go through it. And we make the best of it. The best you know how. Now, his mother became ill, according to the information that I read. And he wrote a poem to his mother. And this poem was an expression of this hymn What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. It was information he shared just to encourage her. That's amazing. With what he was going through, he was able to write a poem and send it to his mother. Now, this poem was anonymous. It was an anonymous poem that was behind the scene for a long time until someone discovered that, wow, who wrote this? You wrote this? Wait a minute, this needs to be exposed here. This is deep, you know. A long story short, this poem wound up being transformed into a hymn. Now, Joseph wrote the lyrics, but there was another person, a friend of his, someone that he knew, that composed the music. And although this was during the 18th century, we're in 2023, and this is still a popular hymn. Look how long ago this was written. This is something to think about. And you wonder why there's a hymn book. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. Are you grieving? Are you mourning for the loss of loved ones or whatever it is you are grieving about and mourning? Just know that you can take it to God in prayer no matter what it is. There are some things we can tell people. There are some things we cannot tell anyone. You're better off just going down in prayer. Going on your knees in prayer. Bow down with your heart. In the book of John, there's a verse in chapter 15. I believe verse 15 says, I no longer call you servants or slaves, but I call you friend. What amazing. Isn't this amazing? I would like to encourage you to read up on Joseph Scriven. Read up on him. And then you can understand and appreciate the hymn. Some things we don't appreciate because we don't even understand. We don't even understand. And we don't know how to appreciate some things in life. But when I read up on this hymn, I shed tears. Because I'm thinking when I'm praying, oh my God, he's not just my creator, my provider, my healer, my deliverer, my waymaker. He's my friend. He calls me friend. What a friend we have in Jesus. All, not some, all our sins and griefs to bear. And then the word says, what a privilege it is to carry. It's a privilege to carry not some things, but everything. Woo! To God in prayer. So, listen to the song. Maybe you'll have a different view or outlook on hymns. Some people really don't like hymns. I love hymns. And I love exploring them. I want to know, I want to understand. So when I sing it, then I can really sing it with expression. Not only for what Joseph went through, but for my life. I can apply it to my life and go, wow, look at what God has done for me. What a friend we have in Jesus. That is something to think about. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be lifted up in spirit. I want you to know that you have a friend in Jesus if you don't have it in no one else. If you can't trust no one else, one thing about it, we know we can trust the Creator. Take it to God in prayer. The words alone is so inspiring. And earlier today, it brought tears to my eyes. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Take it to God in prayer. Until the next YouTube video, be blessed.